Hey, welcome back to BLR Knowledge Center. In this session, we'll see what is CLR and what is the architecture of CLR and components of CLR. So, CLR is nothing but common language runtime where it gets the source code from different programming languages in the .NET framework like C Sharp, VB, F Sharp, and this individual language specific compilers will convert the source code into intermediate code, which is MSIL or CIL or IL. So in the .NET framework, when you compile your program, it did not immediately create operating system specific native code. Instead of it is first compiles your code into MSIL. So let me share a screen where it explains more in detail about CLR. Okay, let me share screen. If you look at here, where I have a programming languages in my .NET framework, like C Sharp, VB.NET, and F Sharp. And this is where my CL area after the programming languages inside of .NET framework. I think you guys know like how .NET framework is going to install it. So in the system, after you install an operating system, whether it is Unix or Linux or Windows or Mac OS, etc., the .NET framework is going to be installed on top of operating system, correct? So inside of .NET Framework, we have programming languages like C Sharp, VB, F Sharp, and then we have base class libraries, and then we have a CLR, and inside of CLR we have different components. That's what we're just looking into now. So looking at this diagram, so the CLR basically, having a language specific compilers here, like C Sharp is going to have a CSC, VB.NET is going to have VBC, and F Sharp is going to have FSC. C Sharp compiler, Visual Basic compiler, and F Sharp compiler. Okay, so these compilers will convert the source code, whatever program you are writing in the high level language, right, or English. That's what everyone is understanding. But machine can't understand whatever language you are writing, right? You basically understand English, but machine can't understand any English language. It has to be converted to a byte code. That's what the machine understanding language, right? Machine understandable language. So if you want to convert, right, your high level or English language program into a machine understandable language, you need to take an help of CLR. So CLR basically, right, won't compile your source program into a native code directly. Instead of that, first it will compile into right MSIL code. This is what a Microsoft Intermediate Language or Common Intermediate Language. Along with that, we have metadata where it describes data about the data. That means if you're writing some program in C Sharp, right, and after it converting into MSIL basically can't readable by a user, right? It is something which contains symbols and debugging symbols and some special character inside of this file. So if you want to understand more in detail about MSIL, I should have somewhere which is going to describe my program, right? That's what metadata. Metadata is nothing but data about data, which will describe your source code program, and then it will embed into MSIL file. So that's the reason these language specific compilers will create two files. One is metadata and one is MSIL. Okay. So usually all .NET languages such as C Sharp, VB, F Sharp, right, are initially compiled into MSIL by CLR compiler. Got it? Okay, so in .NET language, like such as C Sharp, VB, F Sharp, which is conforms to the common language runtime to compile your source program, right? So which is responsible to run application on different operating system. Hence, it will take source code and converting into MSIL, which is intermediate language where you can run on different operating systems. Clear? Okay. So with the help of JIT compiler, when you see the next step here, so after completing this MSIL conversion, this CLR conforms to JIT compiler. Just-in-time compiler. Just-in-time compiler is a compiler inside of CLR which will convert your MSIL code into right a native code, correct? And then it will execute whatever actions you want to perform as part of your program. Let's say like I have a program which will read two values and then it will print sum of two values. That means addition of two numbers. That's what you are expecting an action after you compile your program, right? If you want to do an action, right, CLR will convert your source program into MSIL and then it will give that MSIL file to a JIT compiler. JIT compiler, just-in-time compiler, is again having three different compilers inside of JIT compiler: normal JIT, ECNO JIT, and pre-JIT. Correct? So normal JIT is nothing but It compiles the methods at runtime and then they are stored in memory cache. Okay. This memory cache is commonly referred as JITTED, J-I-T-T-E-D, JITTED. Okay. Once stored in cache, no further compilation is required for the same methods, and again you are running, or again you are compiling it. That's what the beauty of normal JIT compiler. It will it will definitely increase the performance because you are not compiling every time, you are fetching these compiled objects from the Git cache, memory cache, right? By referring JIT tag. Right. So that's the reason I think this normal JIT will, increase the performance of application. And subsequent method calls, right? Accessing these methods directly from the memory cache, not like no from the MSIL, or not compiling again every time. Sure. And second compiler is Ignojit. Ignojit is nothing but this compiler, right? Compiles. This compiler compiles the methods and removes from memory cache, and then once execution is done. It won't keep the compiled components in memory cache. Okay. And coming to the pre-JIT, it will compile into source code and then it will execute and convert into native code. Okay. So these are three different JIT compilers instead of a JIT compiler. Okay. So when I'm trying to explain about CLR is basically comes up with these components: MSIL, IL, CIL, all are same, and JIT compiler, right? This is something called compilation area. There's language specific compilers will compile your source code in MSIL. This part is known as compilation part. And here MSIL is going to create EXE or DLL, which is not in readable format. It's nothing but assembly. Assembly is nothing but a logical unit which contains, right, collection of classes, references, types, and they become exe or DLL. When you're compiling a console application, it will create exe. When you compile, as ASP.NET or microservices or class library, they'll get you a DLL. So executable file and dynamic link library, these are known as assemblies. Okay. And coming to here, this is where runtime comes into the picture to execute your code, right? With respect to the operating system. Suppose you are compiling your program on Windows and you want to run that on a Unix platform. So JIT compiler will take care of all these things, and then it will convert your MSL code into a platform specific code so that it will easy to understand. So this is something which is having inside of CLR, which basically comes from source code to MSIL, and then it goes to native code. Okay. Thanks for listening to this video, and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.